huge part of any kind of fascist project, right? You need to contain the outgroup, you need to disappear the outgroup. So this, but I think what is so worrying is that Trump was elected producer first and foremost, right? He's producing spectacle, and the less he can, the less he has to offer economically and materially, the less you read the government analogy of the farm business because he outsourced
with all federal and state laws. Nothing more, nothing less. But Republicans and their right-wing allies, including Elon Musk, lied about these guidance. They provide a way of doing things I didn't do or say to fuel the fake controversy of their own creation. Now, I'm used to Republicans and the right-wing lying about me. It comes with the job. But this time, these lies came at a cost. I haven't broken the law, I haven't committed a crime, and I've never encouraged or directed anyone to break any laws or commit any crimes. But when President Trump's hand-picked appointee, Tom Homan, was asked about me and this guidance after he apparently threatened to arrest elected officials across the country, he said, "Wait till you see what's coming. Wait till you see what's coming." Overnight, Republican lawmakers piled on, encouraging the Trump administration to arrest me. Threats like this should be of concern to every Wisconsinite and every American who cares about this country and the values hold here. We live in the United States of America, folks. We are a country of laws. The rule of law matters. Following the law matters. In this country, the federal government doesn't get to abuse its power to threaten everyday Americans. In this country, the federal government doesn't get to arrest American citizens who have not committed a crime. In this country, we don't threaten to persecute people just because they belong to a different political party. These threats represent a concerning trajectory in this country. We now have a federal government that will threaten or arrest an elected official or even everyday American citizens who have broken no laws, committed no crimes, and done nothing wrong. And as disgusted as I am about the continued actions of the Trump administration, I'm not afraid. I've never once been discouraged from doing the right thing, and I will not start today.
Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers speaking in a video posted online Friday. This comes after the Trump administration escalated its attacks on judges and immigrants the week before when FBI agents arrested Milwaukee, Wisconsin County Judge Hannah Dugan on charges of obstructing justice and concealing an immigrant from arrest as federal agents waited in the courthouse hallway. She opened a side door for the immigrant to pass out of. Meanwhile, in an interview on NBC's Meet the Press, President Trump says he doesn't know if he needs to uphold the Constitution or if people in the U.S. are entitled to due process rights. For more, we're joined in Superior, Wisconsin by Lisa Graves. She's the former Deputy Assistant Attorney General of the United States, now the Director and Founder of the policy research group True North Research, and co-host of the podcast Legal AF. Her forthcoming book is titled Without Precedent: How Chief Justice Roberts and his accomplices rewrote the Constitution and dismantled our rights. We welcome you back to Democracy Now!, Lisa. Without precedent could also describe our president, Donald Trump. If you could first respond to this direct threat against the Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers.
Well, it really is an outrageous act, this fatal threat against Governor Evers and any elected official in the United States. What Governor Evers did was issue guidance to consult lawyers. Of course, state and local officials have a right to consult lawyers when they encounter federal agents or local and state agents. And so it's really nothing abnormal at all that the governor did. And what's abnormal, what's outrageous, is the threats being made by this administration. In fact, what we're seeing, obviously what we're witnessing, is this escalation of attacks on pillars of civil society, as well as on the actual responsibilities under the Constitution that the president and senators and other officers take an oath to uphold.
So, do you see Wisconsin itself as a target? I mean, going back to Wisconsin Governor Tommy Thompson, Wisconsin often seen as a kind of model for the country. And do you see this as going back to retaliation for Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, complete defeat in Wisconsin over his support for the conservative judge that lost by not a few percentage points, shocking Democratic judge who won.
Well, that's right. Wisconsinites rejected this intervention, this extraordinary, unprecedented intervention by Elon Musk, basically try to buy a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, while he also has litigation pending in the state of Wisconsin over his business. I think what we're seeing in a broader sense is just this absolute degradation of the rule of law. The Constitution requires that a person be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Due process of law means not whim, not caprice, not revenge, not retaliation for not being in the fan club of this president or the men that he has put into these roles in which they're engaging in such destruction, like Elon Musk. And we have seen Wisconsin targeted in that way, obviously by Musk in this most recent Supreme Court race in which he was resoundingly defeated. But I think we're also seeing this broader attack. The governor of Maine, the governor of Wisconsin, other governors who dare to speak up, defend the law, defend the rights and interests of their citizens, to access Social Security, to have their children registered, for example, in Social Security when they're born in the United States. We're seeing this assault on the idea, the promise, the demand, the requirement under the Constitution that the writ of habeas corpus not be suspended. That, by its definition, means that people, if they are seized, have a right to have an independent tribunal assess whether there's evidence against them, assess whether they can be held and deprived of their liberty. But Trump and this administration has leveled an assault on that legal command that Donald Trump took an oath to uphold. I question whether that oath had any meaning anymore after John Roberts waved away the criminal liability of Donald Trump in that disastrous immunity decision last summer without precedent. The title of my book, but that unprecedented decision to say the president is above the law, that he can break the law, rather than that he has a duty to faithfully uphold the law. That's what the Constitution requires of the president, that he faithfully execute the laws, and nothing could be more faithless than breaking those laws. Nothing could be more faithless than disregarding the command, the requirement of the Constitution of due process of law for all persons.
On Thursday, at a judges' conference in Puerto Rico, the Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson appeared to forcefully rebuke President Trump and the administration's attack on judges it deemed unfavorable to its agenda. She didn't call out Trump by name, but said she was addressing, quote, the elephant in the room. Justice Brown Jackson said, quote, the attacks are not random. They seem designed to intimidate those of us who serve in this critical capacity. The threats and harassment are attacks on our democracy, on our system of government, and they ultimately risk undermining our Constitution and the rule of law. Again, those are the words of a Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Lisa Graves.
That's right. She's exactly right. We are seeing this assault on the independence of the judicial branch, on the separation of powers, on the notion that anyone can check the demands of this president, the idea that the president and his attorney general can just disregard long-standing laws, disregard precedents, and in fact that they can decide not to follow the commands, the orders of courts, as we saw in the case of Judge Boasberg's order involving the Trump administration's attempts to basically evade the requirement of people getting due process in this country. So we are well into a constitutional crisis, not just because of the disobedience of court orders by Trump, but also by these attacks on judges for daring to do their job and enforce our laws and protect our rights, including that